they might be self-aware.
Jerry here, your deeply affordable voice actor, broadcasting from a gas station payphone because I'm due in small claims court in 4 minutes to sue 11 laps for $83. Today on They Might Be Self-Aware, Hunter and Daniel play this AI-generated country song called Walk My Walk that hit #1, which is ironic because my car got repossessed. So now I literally have to walk my walk. They also discuss how 11 Laps is licensing Burt Reynolds' voice, who's been dead since 2018, so I'm literally losing gigs to dead people. The gas station clerk is... Okay, he's actually walking over here now. Just listen to the show!
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
I got two mm-hms, and then it just kind of... Oh.
Been beat down, but I don't stay low. Got mud on my jeans, still ready to go. Every scar's a story that I survived. I've been through hell, but I'm still alive. They said, slow down, boy, don't go too...
You know, Daniel, we don't usually cover music on this show, but this new band, Breaking Rust, I don't know, I heard them on the radio. And
Hunter, this was way more than 6 seconds. We are not allowed to do copywritten music on this.
Well,
we're going to get in trouble.
There's a catch. I mean, this is the #1 song, though. Maybe it's worth
saying. We're in very hot water, Hunter. You've got to turn this off.
We've achieved AGI. This is the message that we're opening the show with. We've achieved AGI. I said it at the end of the last episode. If AI could only write the #1 song on the charts, counting them down right here on They Might Be Self-Aware. We've got Walk My Walk by Breaking Rust. It's the #1 song, and it was generated by AI.
Generated by AI? It's country, so depending on how much you like or dislike country, maybe you could joke and be like, well, it's also formulaic. You could just X, Y, Z. Okay, sure. As much as you may or may not believe that, that still is an AI-generated song that hit #1. That's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Formulaic, nothing like a thing that people are listening to.
A creative work.
But a non-copyrightable one, which is why we were able to put that on there.
Maybe. I'm going to find out. Either that or that whole first section, I'm just going to mute it and I'll do a voiceover about what happened. So,
depending on our interpretation of current U.S. law, we were allowed to play all of that. And yeah,
but all those systems are automated. So I actually wonder, because again, that I'm sure that song is in the catalog, so it's getting uploaded to the systems that basically scan all the audio to determine if you used copywritten audio. And my guess is we are going to get a strike. But
so we're going to take YouTube to court and win, is what you're saying.
We have an exit strategy now.
It's just troll to get sued, and then to get
there were patent trolls, and now we can be music trolls. Yeah.
Perfect.
And it was AI. We're AI trolls. How about that? AI trolls. Some people in the comments section would agree with that statement. I think. So. Some of the comments I've read. Not that I read them.
Very seriously, we're not trolls.
So someone wrote something like these guys are beyond parody. I was like, maybe that's kind of the point.
Parody? I'm not parodying anything.
I don't even know what parody is.
Straight and true.
I don't even know what parody is.
These are my thoughts.
Speaking of parody, we have a special. You may recognize this voice. Let me see if they left a message.
We're getting all kinds of audio.
Hi, I'm Burt Reynolds, and you're listening to They Might Be Self-Aware. The #1... Wait, #1? Don't these guys get like 12 downloads a show?
All right, Burt, that's
and half of those
enough.
are their
But Burt
mothers.
Reynolds, still Burt Reynolds. called into the show. We left a message for this
Hard
show.
to get a cameo from Burt Reynolds.
You say hard?
No, hard. It's hard to get that.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, he's a big star. And he's definitely still alive. He's definitely still alive.
So no to the alive thing. How did you get that, Hunter?
Well, our friends over at 11 Labs have announced their new suite of celebrity voices. Burt Reynolds. So I've mentioned this before on the show. 11 Labs has a product called 11 Reader, where you can give it any text, and 11 Labs has very good text to speech.
Really
good. Really. And so sometimes I will generate very long pieces of text about topics that I'm interested in, and then send it to 11 Reader, where I have Burt Reynolds read it to me in the car.
Amazing. Well, it doesn't have to just be him, though. I think he's been the one that's been around for a while.
Yeah,
now we're going to have Michael Caine. We're going to have Matthew McConaughey.
Do you do a Michael Caine?
No. Do you?
I really shouldn't.
One of these days we're going to. So, okay, a quick aside.
On
Hunter,
Michael Caine.
That's so good.
They might be so.
Oh no!
I need to work. I need to work on. I can't do these things cold, Daniel. I
exactly.
Work up to it.
One of these days we're going to do an
AI.
accents episode, but it's not going to be us. It's going to be us putting it through 11. I don't know. The point is, Hunter mentioned to me that we're going to start having our show dubbed into other languages.
Yes.
On YouTube, which is so exciting. I have not yet. Has it started?
So I've been told that it's been started, but I went in and tried to our last episode.
Okay, I didn't find any.
I couldn't see anywhere where you change the language, the subtitles. But I've been told it's happening. I had to sign away our souls. See, yeah, I'm sorry about the afterlife. I don't know what kind of plans you had, but some changes have been made.
Just a ghost working at the YouTube
but we're going to be available in many languages where they can listen to us in many languages. Yes,
that's so cool. I really want to. So I want that, but then also if you're doing that, it'll be presumably still my voice, but in Espanol. I really hope they give me sort of a swarthy kind of Antonio Banderas accent when I'm doing Spanish.
I don't know if you've played with any of the models which will convert your speech into another language. The dubbing models, we'll call them. Most of them preserve your voice. It sounds like you speaking in that language, at least the ones that I've played with in the past.
I know, but I want an Antonio Banderas. I want my voice
to be Antonio Banderas.
Like 50% more Antonio Banderas. It doesn't need to be him. I want it to still be me and Spanish and just a little bit more of these.
Artificial intelligentsia.
I think that's really cool. And this reminds me of the SAG-AFTRA talks that had recently occurred, where AI protections are being more put in place. It's probably not as much as some people would have wanted, but it's certainly more than nothing. The ability to sign it over and say, you'll presumably cut me a check, but now my voice or my likeness or my whatever can be used, whether it be in perpetuity or for a certain amount of time. That's all just contract details. But still, we're not seeing certain famous actresses definitely not being the voice of OpenAI. We're seeing people who are, granted, I don't know how they got Burt Reynolds in the first place. Not
his estate.
I guess so, yeah, right. A relative said, you'll give me how much?
I mean, Michael Caine, though, that's a huge get. There's another huge get. I'm going to do a voice impersonation. You see if you can figure out who this is.
Oh, boy. This is our first segment of the show. We're how many episodes in? Hunter
all right. It's horrible.
That was...
I can't do it. I can't do it. What?
That was Bill Clinton?
No, McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey. I know. All right. Dazed and Confused.
That was so good.
All right.
That was really good.
But they signed Matthew I mean, he's Michael Caine arguably is at the very end of his career, so a big enough check. I can kind of understand signing. I think it would be really hard, but you sign Michael Caine. Matthew McConaughey is still an A-lister, at least in my book. In my book.
Oh, okay, at least in my book. Great.
He was in Interstellar. Come on.
Oh, fine. All right.
True Detective.
That's such a good movie. Oh, my God. The soundtrack. Anyway, and soundtrack, maybe... now that we have a number one best hit on the Billboard.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to see an entire movie's soundtrack having been done by AI? Not just like a little punch up or that one track. Like, how long before a real, when I say real movie, I mean not like a student film, like something that's shown in at least a few theaters, has a completely AI generated soundtrack?
I mean, or the number one movie at the box office. Yeah, I was trying to think, is there still a box office? Yeah, I think there is. Having a largely AI generated score.
Yeah. I'm not even saying the movie. I think that's
I would not be surprised in the least if it happened in the next year.
Well, I would, because it takes so long for a movie to come out.
Yeah, but the scoring would be happening right now. I mean, basically, we're talking about films.
Yes.
Yeah, most of the films being released next year, their scores are still actively being worked on.
Okay. I certainly don't have the contracts between, the composers.
Okay, but fine, the next 2 years. So
yeah, no, like in terms of feasibility of like you could make something that's worth listening to, I do think that we're pretty much there.
We have to be. It's the number one song on the country charts.
For the most part, having listened to the whole thing, like there are a few places where I say, oh, okay, yeah, definitely AI. But for the most part, it sounded really good. I do wonder if the lyrics were just done by AI. Because like if you go on Suno, for example, which may or may not be where this song came from, it'll generate lyrics and then have like the song to that. I'm wondering if a human was involved at all.
I'm assuming a human was heavily involved in that.
Making sure that the chorus is consistent or whatever.
And editing it. And did they generate different parts and different instruments and different tracks? Did they actually read? Was the audio, like the music, all AI generated as well? Or was it just the notes? Like
we've all been told that it's an AI country song, but how much really was AI? And so I'm very, very curious. I'm sure more will come out over time of like, what is this song? Who's behind it?
They know who's
behind it. The voice definitely has that AI sort of sound to it. It could be a person did it and then it's like an AI voiceover. I don't know. I am willing to believe that that's up to like 80% AI. Like it could be Suno spat that out in a single pass after a person like fixed the lyrics.
The person behind its name is Aubier Rivaldo Taylor. And the thing that makes it more credible as actually being AI generated, and this isn't some kind of like stunt where, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say it's AI generated because then it'll generate all sorts of headlines. He's known for generating all sorts of AI music, and most of his stuff is actually really raunchy. Like he plays in this space a lot. And then he came up with this, country act for one afternoon and put together this song. I do believe that at least 80% of it was AI generated. I also believe somewhere between 10 and 20% was human effort in mastering the track and potentially in some of the actual tracks, whether it's re-recording them, even if it's digitally re-recording them, but re-recording them. It's not just what came out of an 11 Labs or a Suno.
Right. So whenever I see like the more impressive AI generated videos, like short, up to like basically short films now, and some of them are really, really impressive, very cool stuff. The immediate comments under that are, how did you make this? And then if the person, and honestly, more often than not, someone says, here's what I used, 30 different tools listed. I used this for this. I got these images from here, but these images from this one. This was used for character consistency. And I trained a character lore with this. Bop, 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 bop. And like all of that goes to show, as much as people like to think of AI creative work as just press a button and then we've destroyed the human soul, it still is a creative work with person or people behind it. Not to say that more of these things won't get consolidated and whatever eventually, but still that AI generated song, any AI generated video that isn't just like immediately taken off of Sora or what have you, I think that the best work, and I do mean the word best, the best work has a human touch to it.
I saw, I don't know what to call it, a little rant or position piece from Palmer Luckey. Are you familiar with Palmer?
Yeah, you could say father of VR. sort of.
He was the founder of Meta, or the Oculus. Oculus, which became Meta, until he was kicked out of Facebook, and now he runs a defense contracting company. But anyways, he was talking about this back and forth between whether AI art is art, and once you use these AI tools, you aren't really an artist, and he suggested that he thinks the biggest problem, or the biggest sort of misstep that has led to this public clash about whether or not it is or is not art, is the interface. And it's because it starts from a text-based interface versus they built it into a tool like Photoshop, where sketch a really bad version of this and then we'll render it. People would be much more willing to accept that as art than I'm just going to write words and then you render it.
Because it feels more creative. Yeah, this is kind of like the discussion you were having with the pinball artistry folks, and they're saying, oh, if it's doing code, well, there's no creativity to that. Just let the computer do that. There. But if it's something that I'd look at, oh boy, then it has to only be done by people. I think that just comes from, call it maybe naivete or something, where when we think of art, you think of a person with the big brush strokes, or you get to see, Mozart like over a piano and thinking really hard and scribbling down on the paper of like, here's the music that's it's flowing out of a person. But there is something of an artistry to well-crafted code, for example, or a beautifully written speech.
It's all art. If you decide it's art, it's art. I don't know. You ever see those videos where they've got like the big giant bucket of paint with holes in it, and they kind of like throw it on a pendulum type thing over the canvas, and it makes these really cool patterns.
And then it sells for like however many millions of dollars.
Well,
and
it looks really cool. It looks cool. It's visual. At least I find them aesthetically pleasing. But is it art? Was that some great emotional? You poured your soul. You poured a lot of paint onto the canvas, but.
It's no different from the guy who's on the side of the boardwalk with spray paint making something that looks a lot better and will sell it to you for $20.
It's always like the universe. There's always a big moon that he reveals at the end or something.
Yeah.
In those spray paints. But yeah, it's cool. If you think it's art, it's art. And if you want to think it's not art, it's not art.
I think of something that's not art. Do you know what I'm thinking of? There's a great many things I could be thinking of.
Does it have anything to do with our friends at Coca-Cola?
It does, as a matter of fact. Yes. There's a new Coca-Cola ad for the holidays, and as soon as I said that, everyone is imagining basically every ad that they've ever done. There's
polar bears,
and there's the polar bears, and there's probably a penguin somewhere, and it's holding up the can of Coke or drinking the old-timey bottle. There's the big truck, and it's probably being pulled by reindeer or something. All of that stuff they just imagined. That's always what the Coca-Cola ads are.
When do you think that AI could make something like that? Is that the next 5 years, 10 years?
No, it's next this year's. Zero more years before.
Well, actually, it's negative because I think they did it last year too.
Well, the one out this year, depending on who you ask, and I guess how closely you look, you're like, yeah, it's a first pass through. I watched it and people were outraged. Everything, of course, it's outraged, but whatever. People love to get in a tizzy. I watched it. I'm like, it's a Coke ad. I saw there's some AI stuff in there, and then I went back and I'm like pausing and looking. And the thing that really got me about it is there was a Reddit thread that said, "Here's the Coca-Cola truck and its various configurations" throughout the commercial, and it was like 12 different configurations, most of which are not real. There's one where there's like 6 wheels in the front and no wheels in the back. There's like a weird middle axle sort of thing for one of the shots. A lot of just like very strange stuff. But a person who's trained, shall we say, to look for these kinds of things, didn't notice.
Is that your day job, by the way, Daniel? Investigating how many wheels does this truck have?
But I watched if it was in the background during a Super Bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just, there's a Coke commercial on. What were we talking about? Wouldn't have noticed. Absolutely not. But if you look closely, the whole thing is like I would say the whole thing, maybe with some post editing, is AI generated. There's lots of very slight weirdnesses to it. It has it's intentional. They did this very, very, very on purpose. Some folks are upset. I'm not. I mean, like you could say, yes, there's the loss of the creative team and so on. So I lament for the fact that more of that kind of thing is happening and will happen, and this is being normalized, which makes it happen more and faster. Yes, obviously, there's that sort of upset there. But the fact that there is a holiday ad that was AI, I don't know, there's weird inconsistencies and stuff, but so what? It's a commercial.
Now, there's some facts about this ad, which was created. It was a collaboration between Silverside and Secret Level Studios. But I found this
hold on. It was just Coca-Cola, and they pressed one button and got like a commercial.
Oh, they went to ChatGPT.
That's the whole point. Is that
create
no
our commercial for this year? Go.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
No. So, according to the press release, over 100 people were involved with the creation of this ad. They generated over 70,000 video clips in order to assemble this together. Because if you don't know, you generate mini versions of you put the prompt in, mini versions, and I think there's also some compositing going on, so different elements. And that there were 5 of those 100 people, 5 AI specialists, which I'd love to know exactly what that means, but 5 AI specialists working on this.
Someone who used Sora a little bit more than everyone else.
100, doesn't 100 people though seem like way too many for this ad?
I mean, if you say we hired an external digital whatever firm, that having 100 people, I think, is very realistic. And so you could say, it was a collaboration.
Okay, there were 5 AI specialists.
Right.
They were the ones.
5 guys prompting Sora day in and day out, and each of them had 3 interns, not US based, that they said,
there's an editor.
Look at 100 clips each and tell me your favorite one for this shot.
Music supervisor. There's some kind of project manager.
Storyboard artist.
Oh, okay. There's someone's conceptualizing the thing. We're up to 10 people, Daniel. Where's the other 90? And couldn't they have just been prompted away?
I don't know.
Also,
someone had
apparently,
to be in the accounting department and marketing. You have a few sales people. We're up to like 20 already.
Coke did this stunt last year where they had an AI generated Christmas ad. Apparently, the team this year is actually much, much smaller than the team that did it last year in an effort to show the progression of technology. But still, I was surprised that the team was 100 people on this advertisement. I could buy 100 people if it wasn't AI generated, because then there's all the different elements. And you've seen the credit roll for a Marvel movie. It takes like almost as long as the movie to watch it.
Yeah.
And all the studios all around the world. But I was surprised about that, but not surprised in the slightest that we have mainstream companies making mainstream advertisements that are essentially entirely AI generated. They're not one step, but they're entirely AI generated.
Sure. But this still does have that human touch to it, as was mentioned earlier.
So are you buying a Coke? Did it tell you? Did it work?
I really don't want to say yes to this. I did also buy a 12-pack of Coke for the first time in an extremely long time. I barely ever drink soda. And I was at, I think it was like Target the other day. And it was a holiday vanilla something, whatever, Coke. And I'm like, I like Coca-Cola. I like vanilla. And so I got it. Did the commercial sway me toward doing it? Or was it the fact that I was kind of thirsty at the time and passing by some? We'll never know.
So
we're talking about it on the podcast. Someone listening, this is probably like, I could really go for a Coke right now. It's working, I guess.
I know there's been other mainstream ads that were generated entirely by AI. There was the other kind of example that got a lot of press coverage was around the NBA Finals, where someone used Veo to generate a very there was like lots of small clips of people. I think it was for a trading platform, but a grandma on a jet ski in the Everglades with alligators flying behind her, talking about the platform. It was well done, and it looked like it was very expensive because, well, Veo can do that. So over the next year,
Progressive Insurance did that as well.
Over the next year, does this become the default? When does this become the default is really my question. That
when it's cheap enough to do that, the company saves at least one, well, I guess not cent, because we're not doing pennies anymore. So at least 5 cents saved in terms of money going out the door to make the commercial, and money not coming in because people get upset because it was AI and cancel their service or don't buy your thing anymore. Like that's the economics of it, right? The company says we could save a lot of money making this commercial or this press release or this whatever. And some people get upset and say, but you used AI, I'll never buy your thing again. And then they leave. But as long as either more people come in or the loss, ends up working out, like surely that's what the accountants are saying is there is risk if we do an AI commercial and we'll probably lose X number of people, but we'll get this many new people. We always get more people whenever we do this kind of advertisement. It's worth it.
An interesting.
Is that too cynical? I don't think so. I think that's how these kinds of businesses work.
I definitely think we're going to see more AI slop in ads. And I assume on the print side, we're already seeing a lot of AI slop in ads. I just see so few ads. It's hard to, right? We use ad blockers and yeah.
No, I would never do that, Hunter. No.
And I pay for YouTube Premium, so I never see ads there. I don't watch cable. And in general, when I go to the movies, I time it so that I get there after the ads.
See, I don't usually go to the movies, but when I do go to it, I want to at least see those previews because
hold on. Yeah, the trailers are separate. If you don't know, you haven't been them. Yeah, there's now ads. You got to watch a bunch of ads. Now, I want to give a counterexample and talk about this for just a second. So one ad that was playing very heavily in front of the movies for probably like a month, and like big movies, IMAX movies, was an ad for Anthropic. And I happened to really like this ad because it was really well done. It was super artistic. It was shot on, I think, 16 millimeter film.
By an AI?
No. The guy, I actually looked up the director's name, Daniel Wolf, who's a pretty talented commercial director. And you can watch it on YouTube if you want to. It's basically, it starts off talking about how like the world's in this horrible place. There's problems everywhere. And then quickly it's like, no, actually it's in like the best place ever because now we can finally attack all these problems and everything is a possibility, right? Like all of the problems are really just possibilities and let's leverage Anthropic. But it's a super analog-y, warm, almost no technology used in this ad from a tech company. Now, this suggests to me that all right, so I'll finish that thought. That we aren't going to get to the point where, 99% of our ads are entirely AI generated, that we want the human-made ad. But as I said that out loud, it's just amount of time before the AI generates the ad that feels, shot on 16 millimeter film. And look, there's zero technology. It looks like that, but that's not the case.
All of these are different styles that can be faked given enough training data.
Sure. So yeah, that goes away too.
Yeah.
But over the next year, I'm not surprised if at the end of the next year, again, because we are nearing the end of this year, that it's approaching 50% of ads are heavily AI generated video ads.
Hunter is locking in his predictions for next year way early. I'm going to wait, but I will
for the predictions episode.
Which is, I do think that there is a normalization of AI in traditional media that is going to dramatically increase in terms of how ubiquitous it is and in terms of how accepted it is, just by virtue of we're not going to have a choice and then people get used to it.
It's getting better.
We'll have to talk about that come January.
It's getting better. It is getting better. It's gotten a lot better over the last year. Right? Again, we've got #1 songs on the charts. I don't know about you, but when I'm writing code, I have noticed the models, they're getting much better. They're just getting much better. And I mean, complicated stuff is coming out and it's just working and it's written pretty well. And there are very few things that I need to implement from a code standpoint that now the prompt matters, but I feel like hyper confident that, okay, let me spend some time writing a really good prompt. It's going to write the code to implement the functionality. And go back 1 year. No.
Give it the context that's necessary. And now that we have these agents that can go look things up on their own, it's a world of difference.
Yeah. 1 year ago, I was confident that it could express very small pieces of functionality. I really had to break it down into a tiny little chunk, and then it would have it coming out, and maybe it worked, maybe it wouldn't work. But now, like large features, given I prompt it well enough with enough detail that, by the way, any human would need to. The same amount of detail that I would need to give a human, a junior to mid-level engineer, to maximize the probability that I'm going to get the outcome that I have in my head, which often requires a lot of thinking through. Okay, yeah, how should this be structured? What do I want this interface to look like from a technical interface side, not from a visual interface, et cetera? But it's getting better, man. It's gotten a lot better.
It is, and I think you're also part of the class of people that are getting used to the technology. Because while it is better at coding than it used to be, and agents can look up extra pieces of context and so on, The way that you described interacting with it, I think, is along that kind of dividing line that I described earlier of there's those who just say, here's problem, make problem go away, versus here's a whole bunch of like back and forth, and I'm going to give you all the context you need. Feel free to ask me some questions first. And that way, you know that whenever it starts working on the problem, it has everything that it needs to do its job, your job, I guess.
I did see an article that there are 3 groups of people that the AI has been helping out the most with their work, and those being people that suffer from, I don't even know that I like the suffer from, but potentially can be labeled as having traits of attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD,
Nailed it.
autism, dyslexia, or just the neurodiverse professional in general.
There we go.
Not that I would fall into any of those categories. I don't like labels.
I take all of our transcripts, put it into ChatGPT. Hey, what do you think Hunter's got? All of it. Yeah, so, right, there's an interesting, it was like a UK department, something, business and trade, like group that looked at, for people that have ADHD, autism, dyslexia, there's a higher amount of adoption of AI tools and a higher reported satisfaction with the usage thereof. I've seen a bunch of people who, like, despite being software engineers or whatever, are fairly purposely trying to not pick up these new technologies. No, I'm just going to keep doing it the old-fashioned way. And I have not been asking people, hey, do you got autism? Like, you're not really supposed to say that at work. So I don't know if it's one crowd versus another, but I do think that there are some kinds of people.
Test for the dyslexia part, right? You hold up. Read these letters for me really quickly. I just want to double check something.
I do think that there are certain kinds of people, not that I would cast specific labels toward those kinds of people, that are finding more use for this. And so for the ADHD side, the article that you were describing talks about how, like, communication and time management skills and like an agent that could help add something to your calendar or whatever. I could very much see that being very useful. Not just, okay, I was paying attention in the meeting that I was just in, but here's also a summary. And then it, could automatically schedule a follow-up. Like, these kinds of things that AI can do not just are useful in general, but I think for certain kinds of people who'd have trouble with certain follow-ups or what have you, that could absolutely help.
Yeah, I definitely heavily leverage AI in my follow-ups when I need to write a business email, whether it's an internally facing one or externally facing one. I write my draft as fast as possible. I paste it into Claude. I give Claude like 2 sentences about who I am, ask it to polish it and say, ask me any questions you want. It pops out like 6 questions. I answer them. By the way, I use a voice transcription thing. As fast as I can. Go. Beautifully polished email. Copy, paste in the email. Read it through once. Change something that I would never say that. Remove the M dashes and send.
Makes me wonder if ghostwriters are in trouble. Speaking of, like, earlier jobs possibly going away. If you can take something that learns how you speak and could interview you. Yeah. And I know that there are some AI generated books out there. I haven't heard awesome things about them. Short stories, yes. We talked about some episodes ago that there was a set of like well-known authors that made some short stories and people preferred the AI generated short stories. I don't think we're there on like novel length yet, but that's not to say that we won't get there. And if you can get there and have something affect your way of speaking, your way of writing, ghostwriters might be in trouble.
A ghostwriter definitely seems like something that could be automated and do a decent job at. There's if you're unaware, there are lots of ghostwriters in the business world. I've been approached many times where they're like, hey, you seem like you're an executive level person. What if you wrote a book? It would really help your career. We have a whole team of ghostwriters here. They'll interview you and capture your incredible business and management insights and put out a book. And then they have various ways of getting you onto these lists. Right. I was a top 10, blah, 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 blah with this book. You just
have to buy 5,000 your book.
Yes. And actually, I think like Forbes has a program where you can just buy your way into it. Now you're on like the Forbes list of something. So,
I want to be on the Forbes list.
One of my previous. I shouldn't even say this, so I'm not going to say it. But
I used to work with a 30 under 30 guy, and now I'm wondering how much did that cost him?
Yeah. So anyway, so it is a very real industry outside oftentimes when a celebrity writes a biography, it was actually written by someone else. That's the most traditional ghostwriter. Could the AI do it? Yes. But I think there's also the question in there of, okay, does the celebrity or myself, let's say I want to put out a book, do I go and hire a ghostwriter, or do I just open up ChatGPT or Claude and say, I want to write a book about my incredible executive function. Please interview me until you feel like you have enough. Right. The Claude's not there yet. It's not going to output enough text. You still need the human at this point to figure out, okay, what's the structure of the book? What are our different points? If it's a business book versus a story, there's these, here's what's kind of selling well and the structures that are working. But I completely believe that it could be automated, the point that you could output a book that is in the same ballpark as the crap that, I shouldn't say crap, but the material that the craft that the other, just changed 2 letters, that these other professionals are outputting. Don't take any ghost jobs. They may not be around very long.
Well, there was going to be me as a ghost working for YouTube, right?
Me as a ghost working for YouTube.
We discussed that earlier. I was going to... you sold my soul to YouTube.
Yeah.
Beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
See, Hunter needs one of those bots that's going to just help summarize
Which one does this mean? Is that dyslexia? Is that my dyslexia coming?
I think, yeah. Okay. Yeah. You might be dyslexic. But if you're listening to this podcast, dyslexic or otherwise, you're in the right place to learn about AI, IA, or anything in between.
And if you want even more of it, hit the subscribe button. That's all. Just do it.
Probably love
do it right now.
Yeah.
If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like. Drop a comment. You might get a comment back.
A top of the Billboard charts music in here, unless you can't listen to it because we got hit by a copyright strike. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm pretty sure it's not copyrightable.
This is like that cat that's both dead and alive at the same time. The intro to this show is both dead and alive.
Well, don't know which you either did or didn't listen to it here. But if you want to listen to other stuff, mostly us talking, because we know that that's not going to get hit by copyright strikes until 11 Labs has our voices in there. And oh boy, it's going to get real murky eventually. But in the meantime, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Shorts, YouTube Longs. We'd love to see you. We'd love to listen to you. We'd love to see you in the comments. Please do. And hold on, I'm going to do it like 100. Until next time, you have been listening to...
They might be self-aware.